Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. We're launching an amazing new series with one of my dearest friends, Manny Garcia. He's here with American Clean Energy Solar, and we are launching this series all about solar, the Solar Truths series. We know I've heard from so many of you. You don't know how to maneuver through the solar world. You think you want it, but you don't know how to get it. There's a lot of shysters out there. There's a lot of people who have sort of kind of ruined the reputation. And now you're trying to figure out how to maneuver through that. Well, I am bringing you the one and only somebody I trust 100% wholeheartedly to talk about solar every week. So welcome, Manny. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, Ted. Thank you so much for having me on the TED Show. And, I think this is a really great opportunity for people to really learn a little bit about solar without having all these pushy salespeople in people's homes and,
Well,
and
that's
hearing all
the
the noise.
thing. Everybody I've talked to, like when I always do some reconnaissance, so I was talking to people about solar. The number one thing is the pushy, and then when they get the price or they get the quote, they have no idea how to make any sense of it. Nobody's taken time to explain. There's a lot of things. Listen, there's a lot of good people out there, so I'm going to say that, and Manny will say that too. But trying to get to those good people, I think, is hard, and so that is preventing people from really understanding how powerful and impactful solar can be in their lives and, of course, to the world. So before we dive into that, because our topic today is, can I go solar? How do I go solar? How do I qualify? Who qualifies? We're going to give you the basic 101. Tell them a little bit about you and your journey, because obviously we've known each other for years, but you weren't always in solar.
No, that's right. Yeah, for the past couple decades, I've been a servant leader for big companies like Marriott and Sheraton and Westin. I also served as a VP of sales and marketing for a big company in Asia called Anantar Hotel and Resorts. So I was blessed to live in Bangkok for almost 3 years, and it was an incredible experience. And then coming back from Asia, we purchased a home. We were going to actually do a flip with it, but we fell in love with the home. And right before I got into solar, I had no idea I was going to get into solar. I had the desire to put solar in my home, right? And I called a few different companies, some really big national companies, some local companies, and they came in and they were all over the place. Every single company gave me a different story, a different size system, different price points. I was just so confused. And I said, wait a second, this makes no sense, you know? And then I started doing some research. And here's the first thing I think everybody here needs to know, okay, is that solar on the sales and marketing side of things, it's not regulated yet in the state of Florida.
That's
Okay.
fascinating. Tell them why that's important.
So any Yahoo can sell solar, right? There's no way to hold people accountable for what's being said right now when it comes to what solar can and can't do, right? So if you think about any other industry, so you got realtors, you got loan officers, you got hairdressers, they all have to get certified, tested, right, through the state of Florida, and they're held accountable. They're licensed professionals, right? So on the sales and marketing side, in the state of Florida and in some other states yet, they're not there is no regulation. And that's the first thing that I found out. And I said, well, wait a second. So if indeed there was regulation, then what does the process need to look like? And I did all this research and I found out that California leads the country when it comes to regulation for solar. So I downloaded the California Handbook of Solar, right? And what's required. So now solar companies have to give everybody this booklet that is from the state of California saying, here's the things you need to know. Here are the questions you need to ask, right? So then I started asking myself these questions as a homeowner and going, aha, wait a second. And I realized a few things, which is what this series is going to be all about, right? Which is the Solar Truth series. And we're going to take a deep dive into some powerful questions that you need to go through yourself before you decide to switch to solar. And then when you go through that process, then you'll know, okay, solar is good for me or it's not good for me, right? And today we'll dive into some of those. And I will tell you, there's some, like you said, there's some good companies out there that are all about transparency and educating people, but there's a lot of companies out there that aren't. They just want to go in, get the deal, make the commissions, and leave. And unfortunately, about 80 to 90% of those companies don't last. They go under, and then the customer is stuck with a system.
They're stuck holding the bag or holding the solar, so to speak. And a lot of times they really did it for a commission. We see businesses like this all the time. It's not just solar. They did it for the commission, and that solar program, that solar equipment, the way that they set it up isn't the best for them. It was the best for the commission and for the company instead of being the best for the consumer. And that's what I found. So when I saw that you were into solar now, I thought, well, if anybody has vetted the industry, if anybody has made sure that the company that he aligns himself with is honest and reputable, it's going to be Manny Garcia, which is what piqued my interest, which is why I reached out. I'm like, hey, what are you doing this time? I love it because you are an entrepreneur at heart. But it's so important, especially in our state, especially because what's going on with tax credits, which we'll get to at some point. But it's so critical for people because now they have a misperception, misconception about what solar is and how much it costs, and I can't afford it, or my house doesn't qualify for it, or I have trees so I can't use it. There's just so much more to it. And so what we want to do is we want to uncover those truths and expose them so that when you are making decisions about solar, when you're thinking about it, we're actually giving you information that's real.
And I also want to apologize to all the homeowners out there because it's nuts, right? Like on the marketing side, if you fill out one of those forms, right, on a website that you're interested in solar, the amount of calls and the amount of texts and emails that you get is just so overwhelming, right? And that's just the industry. It's very, very saturated. There's a lot of competition. A lot of times when you're filling out one of those forms, that's what they call the semi-exclusive lead. So that lead is being sold to a handful of different solar companies, and then you just start getting bombarded. And I know how frustrating that can be. Yeah. So I want to apologize because, you know, we do have ads out there that we realized that this was the case, and then we pulled out of those type of programs because we didn't want our people getting harassed. So we do things more organic now, more referral based, because, you know, again, we're trying to do everything we can to avoid harassment. So
and you're doing a great job, and that's why I feel super, super good about us doing this, not just because of our relationship, but when you sit with or talk to Manny or anyone on his team, they know what they're talking about. I don't feel oversold. I don't even feel sold at all. Your real desire is to make sure that you fill our need and that you can explain things in a way that you make an educated decision about going solar. So let's get to that. One of the biggest things is, can I go solar? So maybe give them a little 411 on how that process works. Let's say they don't want to fill out all those forms and they go, I just want to talk to Manny. What's the process like? How do they go through that?
Yeah, what I like to do is let me share these talking points real quick with the team, with the audience members, because these are some questions that you want to ask yourself before you decide that you want to go solar. Okay. So the first one is, you know, are you looking at paying cash for a solar system? And solar systems can be quite pricey, but they're still in the long run going to be a lot less than what you're paying the utility company. Or are you considering financing or even leasing? A lot of people don't know that there are lease options out there where you can lease the equipment. You don't have to purchase anything. So these are the type of questions that you want to go into a solar sales consultation with, right? If you're going to do financing or leasing, you want to make sure that you have at least a 650 credit score or above. If not, there is some financing options that are available if you have less than a 650 credit score, but the rates could be a little bit higher and some of the bank fees could be a little bit larger as well. Okay, so that's one of the very first questions you want to ask. Number two is, do you have taxable income? So right now in the state of Florida, one of the biggest incentives that homeowners can have are tax credits from the federal government. The IRS actually gives you a tax card, basically like a gift card, right, on the total purchase price of your system. But if you don't have any taxable income, and please listen closely here, you cannot take advantage of the tax credit. Yes, solar companies will say, oh yeah, the government's going to give you $10,500 back. Yes, that's true, but it's only against tax liability. If you have no tax liability, that tax credit won't.
Well, yeah, they're not cutting a check back. Like there's no cut. Like if you don't have taxable income, it's not that they're going, oh well, you don't have taxable income. Here's $10,500.
Correct. And this is one of the biggest areas where we see a lot of misrepresentation is that, you know, they're selling solar systems to retirees and there's no taxable income or very, very little taxable income. And it would take many, many, many years for them to absorb the tax credits. So that's a big one. The third question is, and by the way, if you don't have taxable income, that's okay. That's where leasing a system could be a better program for you, because the leasing company absorbs the tax credit and they give you a better overall monthly payment for that energy. So again, these are things to discuss with your solar advisor. The other good question to ask is, most insurance companies allow for solar panels to be installed, but there is a handful of homeowner insurance companies that don't allow for solar panels, which means then you would have to switch over to different insurance companies. So you want to look into your current insurance provider to make sure that they would allow a solar system to be
What
installed.
would be just out of curiosity, what's the rationale there? They just don't want to cover it? Is it
Correct? Yeah, sometimes they don't want to cover it, or you have to pay extra to be able to cover the panels. In most cases, once you install that into your home, it becomes a permanent fixture of the home, and it's covered underneath the normal policy. But we do see on a case-by-case basis, maybe 1 out of 10 installations where the insurance company either doesn't allow it or they charge extra for that.
Got it.
Okay. And the reason this is important is because we're trying to save money here, right? So when you get your solar system installed, if you see a savings on your solar system payment compared to utility company, but then you have to pay another $100 a month or whatever it is for extra insurance costs, and that could defeat the purpose.
Fascinating.
Okay. Now, the other question you want to ask yourself, if you're within a community, HOA, or if you have a home on a small parcel of land, most likely you will have to go roof mounted. But if you have, a nice big piece of property, you're not part of an HOA, and you want to go ground mounted like a mini solar farm, these are the type of questions that you can ask yourself. Well, should I consider a ground mounted system versus a roof mounted system? The ground mount systems have to be anywhere between 30 to 50 feet away from the dwelling. So these are all little things that you can consider. Ground mount systems also cost a little bit more, but at least you don't have the panels on your roof.
That I didn't know that was an option. I didn't even think about it. I just thought everything had to go on the roof.
No, yeah, we've done many. Actually, we're doing one in Mount Dora right now, which is one big ground mount system that's going to feed 2 properties or two homes with 2 separate meters on one property. So it's a really cool project.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. The next question you want to ask is what's the condition of my roof, right? So, and type of roof. So if you have, pretty much we can install solar on any roof except for anything that has like cedar planks. So as long as it's metal or tile or cement or shingles, anything like that, we can do solar mounted.
You can do the tile. You
Yeah,
can do the tile roof.
Yeah, the industry has evolved a lot over the course of the last couple decades. So there's all kinds of different mounting brackets and systems that are waterproof for pretty much any type of roof, other than we're not allowed to put panels on anything that has a wood shingle.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then if you have an old roof, here's one of the good things to know is that the government allows what they call for the tax credit, anything that's considered a home energy upgrade, right? So if you have to upgrade your roof because you have a super old roof in order to put solar on it, you could also be entitled to a tax credit off of the total cost of your new roof as well. And they also allow bundling, so you're able to finance both the solar project and the new roof together over 25 years at rates as low as 1%, which make it super affordable to get a new roof and solar for pretty much the same amount of money that people are paying their utility company. They could get upgraded with both of those things.
So I see, again, this is what you think I know this stuff. I don't. That's why Manny and I do it. I'm the dumb one in the conversation and learning right along with all of you. You can get, so if it qualifies, however you set it up, you could get the new roof in order to qualify for or get the solar, and that can all be rolled into one 25-year loan, one 25-year payment. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's amazing. So in most cases, what we see, let's just use one recent example. We had a customer over in Palm Springs that wanted to do just the roof, right? And their payment for the roof only would have been like $285 a month over 10 years with rates around 9%. So then we showed him a roof solar combo for less than the $280. We were able to get him new roof and solar, and he was able to qualify for the tax credit for the whole package. So it was just a no-brainer for him, especially knowing that there's no prepayment penalty, so they can pay off the loan whenever they want.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing because roofs are kind of an interesting challenge right now in Florida. And so what a great way to kind of have that conversation. I think it's important, but I did not know that you could do that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm learning, guys. I'm learning.
The next one, which is super important, guys, is the roof tilt and the azimuth. Now, this gets a little technical. This is something that you really don't need to know too much about. But for example, if you have a flat roof, solar does work on a flat roof, but it's not as effective as if you have a roof that has some tilt to it, right? A 20 degrees, a 30 degrees tilt to it. And the reason for that is throughout the year, the sun pivots, right? Depending if it's winter, spring, fall, or summer. And then also the azimuth, meaning the positioning of the tilt of your roof. So obviously, if you have a south-facing roof, that side of the roof gets the most amount of solar exposure compared to the north side. Again, these are all little things that you want to ask your sales consultant about, because a lot of times you'll see if companies don't know what they're doing, they'll try to load up a bunch of panels on the north side of the roof where, yeah, they'll still produce power, but you're going to get 50% or 40% production, as opposed to on the south side, you're going to get 100% production, right? So.
And what is azimuth?
Yeah, the azimuth is does it face north, south, east, or west, or is it is it a southeast or is it a southwest? So all of those different angles compared to the north, south, east, and west poles, that's the azimuth, right? So zero being north, right? 180 being south degrees. So
Amazing.
that's what that means. Mm-hmm. And then here's another real big one is your roof free of shade, right? So we have a lot of people that are excited about solar. They want to put solar, they want to save a bunch of money, but their home is completely engulfed by trees. That's not a good roof, right? So both the customer and the home have to qualify for solar. And again, a good solar company will give you good guidance. We've seen terrible installs in homes that are completely covered in shade except for a couple little areas, and then the customer is left, feeling like they were bamboozled because they have a solar system in place, but it's only producing 20% of the power that they need, right? And then, as you know,
were bamboozled.
Yeah, and then removing trees is very expensive, right? I mean, one tree alone could cost you a couple grand, depending on how big the tree is. So these are all things to consider, for sure. And then last but not least is battery backup, right? So are you in an area where you lose power all the time, or do you have special needs within your home where you don't ever want to lose power because you have elderly people that are, oxygen tanks and things of that nature? So battery backups, although are a bit pricey, although it becomes a little bit of a luxury item, this could be a great alternative to ensure that you still have electricity even when the power goes out through the grid.
It's interesting, and we live in a state where the power seems to go out when the lightning flickers, or there's even one roll of thunder, and so I think a lot of people don't understand how just because it's not sunny out doesn't mean you're not getting energy. We should talk about that at some point too, but it's educating yourself on this, and that's why these questions. I'm sure you shared a story about an elderly couple, right? That was an insane experience, and you guys were trying to do whatever you could to help, but they really
that's one of the reasons that actually we became very motivated to doing these educational seminars, because it just breaks my heart when we see especially elderly people taken advantage of, right? My grandmother, who died at 102, she was my icon, right? Like, I love that lady, right? We're all here because of her. And we were called in by an 85-year-old couple in Ocoee. And when we went there, we realized that they had solar. And we said, oh, wait, hold on, you have solar. So why are you calling us? Yeah, we do. We have solar, but it's not working. And we're now making double payments. We're making payments to our solar lender, and we're making payments to utility company again. And so anyway, when we started doing our research, we realized that these poor people, they actually paid 3 times what they should have paid for that solar system. The people that installed their solar system installed really bad equipment, and they were no longer in business. So, that was unfortunate in that case. There was nothing we could do. We made some recommendations. We asked if they had a younger relative that could help, and we got a hold of their younger daughter. And, we have her kind of reaching out to the authorities and to the news channels and stuff like that, because obviously this was a really bad deal, right? So education is the motto.
This is what we're going to do here. That's what we want to do. We want to educate you. We want to ask the questions that you might have in advance so that you can make educated decisions, because it really is top of mind. You're seeing it a lot in the news. Obviously, the tax benefits are there, but it's also your energy benefits. There's so much good that can go on when you entertain it. And for those of you who are out there who think that it's not for you, I still think it's worth listening to the show and kind of finding it out, because you'd be amazed. Remember, we live in the Sunshine State. So if there is any state in the country that should be focusing on this as part of our renewable energy, it is definitely Florida. Did I miss anything on that other slide, my friend?
So we got one other thing I want to talk about here real quick, which is like who actually qualifies, right? So once you ask yourself all of these questions, this is the next group of things that we want to look at is for residential projects, right? It's best if you're the homeowner. In rare occasions, we have seen a renter who is going to be living at a dwelling for multiple decades and they want to save money on power and they're able to get solar installed, but they would have to self-fund, right? So in order to get the financing for a solar system, the homeowner must be on title, okay? So homeowners of single-family homes, they pretty much qualify. People that own townhomes, manufactured homes, or mobile homes can also qualify, but it's on a case-to-case basis because there's some strict guidelines around them having to own the land as well. If it's a manufactured home or a mobile home, it has to be permanently attached to the land. They can't just, roll it away. Again, credit score is important. And for people that have below a 650 credit score, for the most part, they can get financing, but it's going to be for partial systems. So maybe not a system that can cover 100% of their bill, depending on how big the bill is. So these are the couple things that you want to look at. And again, and whether it's us or a good solar company, they'll be able to walk you through exactly what's needed in order to get you approved. And then obviously there is commercial projects that also get approved, but we'll talk about that on another show.
Which I'm excited about. And that's the whole thing. So as you guys are watching the show, if you have questions, specific things that you want to ask Manny, I encourage you to message me or message Manny, comment on the show, ask us, because we want to answer them. The whole point here is to educate you to make a decision that I believe is super important for our energy future, that's for sure. And there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of benefits that I think that you don't realize that you can get when you do go solar. So Manny, we're going to do this once a week, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we're going to share all the solar truths with you. And every week it's going to be a different topic, a little bit less on me and Manny and a lot more on the actual topic. But we wanted to let you know so you could understand why I'm partnering with, working with, and trusting my friend, because he's got the integrity and certainly has vetted the process and the company. So what's the best way for them to reach out and ask questions, Manny?
So they can reach us directly if they scan the QR code that they see on the bottom right-hand corner of the frame here. That'll take them right to our landing page, and they can learn more about solar. There's a telephone number they can call right there, or they can also email me directly at manny@americancleanenergysolar.com. I know it's a mouthful. It's the longest name in solar.
All right. It's all right. It's easy, though. Everybody can spell those words.
That's right. So, yeah, absolutely. And any questions that anybody has, there's no pressure. We can even do virtual appointments. So nowadays with technology, we have some really cool, sophisticated systems that we can take all kinds of satellite images of your roof and everything else like that. We don't even need to come into your home. So about 60% of all of our projects right now are all virtual driven. So we love to do that. It saves everybody time and no street. You don't have to worry about cleaning up your home, to have people, strangers come in. So
Exactly. Well, I'm excited for this, mainly because I'm fascinated by it. I'm a big believer in it, but I really didn't know what to think or how to maneuver through it prior to that. So we're going to take you on this journey with the Solar Truths series here on the TED Show. Manny, you're amazing. We will be back next week. If you have questions, Manny at AmericanCleanSolarEnergy.com, or you can reach out to me on Messenger or anywhere on social media. We want to educate you, and we want you to take a look and see if this makes sense for you, and also for you to be able to talk intelligently about it and to really be able, if you're talking to somebody else, you can actually ask the questions that will protect you and make sure you're getting the system that you need. All right, Manny, we'll be back next week. We'll see you guys soon.
Thanks,
everybody.